Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is MOED KATAN Daf Chav Zayin. We begin at the last line of Chav Vav Amud Beis. Tanu Rabbanon. We learned a price. Ha'hoilech mamakim l'makim. We're speaking about an aval who's en route. He's on a business trip. And then he finds out that a relative passed away. Typically, an aval doesn't do malacha. But here's a unique case. He already has his schayra with him. He's in China. He's on business. What should he do now? If he has the ability to cease his asek, to stop his business right there, he's meant to do that. To suspend his business dealings until after his shiva. But if it's not practical, he's going to lose out. It's just not going to work out. In this case, we allow him to conduct business together with his whole group. So if it's with a chabura, it doesn't necessarily appear like it's his personal business dealings, and therefore he can do it. But it's specifically in this case because, as Tosfos brings, he's already en route. He brought his schayra with him. He did nothing wrong. He didn't expect this sudden turn of events. And therefore, if it works out, fine, but otherwise, he can resume, he can continue, provided that it's together, in conjunction with the rest of the group. Tanu Rabbanan. We learned that an aval is meant to do kfiyas hamita, which means to overturn his bed. The reason was given. Hashem says, look, I created you with a tzelem alakim. This is back on Tezvav Amud Beis, right on the top line. The most diyukni, says the Gemara, no sati behen. I've inserted my own personal image. Rashi says, "B'tzelem elakim osas adam." Look what you did with it. Ubav is same afachtia, because of the averus. I had to reverse that tzelem elakim. I had to overturn everything. Kafu mitoysein aleh, overturn your beds. On account of this tragedy, the Korban Eidah Yerushalmi says the bed is the facilitator of zivug, of children. So that's meant to symbolize the disruption of the tzelem alakim, so to speak, and that's why the aval overturns his bed. He overturns his bed on which he eats, on which he sleeps. We actually don't do it today. Tosfos back in Tanis, and also Tosfos here a couple of days ago said that we don't do it today because we're concerned that the goyim will think that we're involved in kishuf and witchcraft. So we don't adopt this. We don't apply this today. But in any case, one of the elements of avelus was kfiyas hamita. Tanu Rabbanan. When do they do that? At what point do they overturn the beds? Once they transport the mace out of the home. So although when it comes to other hilchas avelus, those get activated at the point of kvura, typically at the point of kvura, but kfiyas hamita, which pertains to the tzelem alakim, as soon as he leaves the house, they overturn the beds. Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, no. It's like all the other elements of avelus. At the point of kvura, when they cover up the mace. There was an incident involving Rabbi Gamliel Hazaken when he passed away. As soon as they took him out of the house, Rabbi Lezer turns to them. He says, "Overturn your beds. It's time." So everybody turned over their beds, and once they cover up, they put the lid on the mace, they covered up the caver. Now was Rabbi Yehuda turning to them, he says, look, it's time to do kviyas hamita. I'm ready to tell them, it's too late. We already overturned the beds based on the instructions given by Rabbi Lezer, who they refer to as zaken. Tanu Rabbanan. We know that on Shabbos we restore the beds. We had this a couple of days ago, right? We make a restoration. We do zekifas hamita back on Chavdal and Aleph, because we're not meant to express avelus in public, make a public display of avelus. That's also. So we restore the beds. At what point? It's a whole moving job. Do we have to wait to the last minute before Shabbos? No, we'll give you some extra time. Better of Shabbos. After Mincha time. Some say Mincha Gedola, some say Mincha Katana. Amar Rabba Bar Huna. Aval became. So you restore the beds. You put them back in position, upright. But to actually use them as such, don't do it until the actual Shabbos arrives. Continues the price. Shabbos. What happens after Shabbos? Say it's already day 6 of the Shiva. It's just one day left. Do we have to trouble him to go and overturn all the beds again? Yes. Answer is yes. Shabbos, even though it's just one day left of the Shiva, he has to rearrange his furniture again and overturn the beds. We learned in the Brayso, when they do Kfiyas Amita, it's not just on his personal bed, we're speaking about the Aval's bed. All the beds in the home, who kaifa, he has to turn over. Even if he has 10 bedrooms or 10 beds, he has to be kaifa all the beds. Suppose it's not like a father and they're sitting in the house of the father, so everybody has to, all the beds. We're speaking, there are 5 brothers living in various locations. One of the brothers passes away. Kulan kaifin, all brothers, wherever they're living. Even though they're not in the base of the mace himself, they have to be kaifin mitas. However, if there was a bed which was meant as a display case, they put the kalim on it, that doesn't have to be overturned because it's not serving a person. Likewise, dargash, whatever that is, we'll see in a minute, that too need not be overturned. Rather, we turn it sideways against the wall. Rabban and Shimon Gamliel Omer, dargash, you do something else. Mater's karbitav, you untie the loops which hold up the mattress, and it just collapses on its own. We're going to see soon why and what this dargash is all about. My dargash, what is this dargash bed? Am'ula arsa de gada, the bed of mazel, a bed sitting on the side on which mazel tov rested. It wasn't really used. It was just sitting on the side as a simon tov. Amli Rabba, is that what dargash means? Avakash. Take a look at the Mishnah describing the melech in the process of avelos. This nan. So when they come to the king to serve him his first meal, Sudas Avra, everybody's on the floor. Who makes ala dargash, and out of deference to the melech, out of kavod, he sits on the dargash. Now you're gonna tell me dargash is a mazel tov bed. Nobody sits on that mazel tov bed. Mi'ika midi. Can it be that it'll be a case, a situation where the ada idna lo sivne. Till this point, nobody placed him on the mazel bed. And now we're going to place him there. It doesn't make sense. Maskav Ravashi asks Ravashi, what's the big deal? We do a lot of interesting things during Avelis. My kushya. What about feeding him? Did you ever feed the king? When was the last time you gave him a meal? That did not until this point. We didn't. Nobody serves him food and drink. He has his own supply. Now we're serving him. So Avelis brings along all kinds of interesting practices. So maybe we put him on the mazel bed. Rather, if there's any difficulty involved, it's as follows. Because we have a brayso, the sanya, the brayso that we just learned. Dargash ein tzarich l'kfoisoi elo zoikf. This dargash bed doesn't have to be overturned. You just lean it sideways against the wall. Vi arsa de gada. If this dargash is the mazel bed, why wouldn't you overturn it? Hatanya, we learned in the Brayso, all the beds have to be overturned, and this included. He doesn't just overturn his personal bed on which he sleeps. All the beds have to be overturned, including the mazel bed. Why does that get the special exception? Why is that a kasha? It doesn't serve a person, so it's not included in the chiv. It wouldn't be any different than the bed on which you set up the kelim. The sanya, the This type of bed doesn't have to be overturned because it's not serving a person. It's not meant for sitting or sleeping. So perhaps Dargesh is this mazel bed. The reason why it's exempted from the Kviyas Hamita obligation, that's because nobody lies on it. Okay, so if there's any kasha to ask on your definition of Dargesh, it's as follows. We learned Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Imer, Dargesh. How do you treat the Dargesh? Mater kabrita, you loosen up the loops, and it just collapses. So the mattress, the mat just falls down. If you're going to tell me this Dargesh is this Mazel Tov bed, my kabrita in Isla, since one doesn't have loops, it's just not made this way. So apparently it doesn't really fit your description. It doesn't really fit your definition. So what then is the Dargesh? We're stuck. Says the Gemara, Ravin came to the rescue. She also Ravin. When Ravin arrived from Eretz Yisrael, he had an answer. Omar, he said as follows. Omar li Yahumu Rabban. You should know that there's a certain Talmud Chacham who told me, his name was Rav Tachlifa B'Marava Shemei, that was his name. Tavashchiach B'Shuka de Godoy, he would be found in the marketplaces of the tanners, and he was an expert in leather goods, and he told me, my Dargesh, you know what that is? Arsa did slaw a leather bed, so that a leather mattress, and that's what it's all about. So it is meant to serve a person, but the reason why we are lenient when it comes to this bed, we don't require overturning, Farshim said, because it ruins it. We don't want to destroy the bed, so you just lean it to the side. According to Shimon Gamliel, you just drop the mat, that it just rests on the frame. We don't have to actually overturn it, in which case the leather will have to sit on the moist floor and get ruined. So it's the arsa that's the bed made with some type of leather mat. Itmer nami. We have another raya that Dargesh indeed is this type of bed. Amar Rabbi Yirmi. Dargesh sirugay mitaychay. By a Dargesh, the looping happens towards the interior of the bed. So you have a frame, right, which is lying horizontal, on which they put from which they hang the leather mat, and the leather mat is looped around the frame. So this is one of the sides of the frame. So towards the inside of that frame, right? So it's like this, a frame. Towards the inside, you have these holes through which they loop some type of loops, which are tied to the leather mat, and that's how it hangs. So siruga mitaychay, the looping takes place towards the inside of the frame and not really seen outside. But a mita, a typical bed, over there, siruga al gaba, the looping takes place on the frame itself, so you sort of see the looping on the exterior of the bed. It's visible. So that was the difference between the Dargesh and the bed. The Dargesh, the looping was towards the inside, so sort of concealed, and the mita had it visible on the outside. And actually, that's exactly how they make the Arsa Detzla. The looping is on the inside. Apparently, Arsa Detzla is the Dargesh. Amar Rabbi Yaakov Aracha, Amar Shimon Levi, Halacha, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, that we loosen up the loops, we allow the leather mat to drop down. That's how you address the Dargesh during the days of Avelus. Amar Rabbi Yaakov Aracha, Amar Rabbi Asi, Mita Shnaklitel Yitzin. If you have a bed with some poles, some bedposts protruding upward, which support the canopy that hangs over the bed. So naklitin were actually a pair of poles. So you have the bed, flat bed. You have a pole coming up on this side, and a pole coming up on the other side. Upon which they would sling another pole. Then they would hang a canopy, Rashi says, to protect from bugs, from flies. So if you're going to turn over the bed, you're going to destroy the poles. So you're not required to actually overturn the bed. Zoikfa v'daya, you just flip the bed sideways, and that's enough. Tan Rabban on Yoshein al Gabi Kise. Suppose the oval decide I'm going to sleep on a chair, not on an overturned bed. Al gabi yadayni gdola, or on a large mortar, overturned mortar, or even al gabi karka, on the floor. Lo yotze dechavos, he's not yaitze. Why? Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Shloi kiyem kriyas hamita. He wasn't mekayim kriyas hamita, which requires overturning the bed, and as the Rambam learned, sleeping on that overturned bed. That's what it's all about. Using an overturned bed during the Avelis. Tana Rabbanan. Although, during the Avelis don't engage in personal pleasure, which would be considered a diversion from the matter at hand, but we maintain the cleanliness of the home. That's okay. Mechabdin, we sweep marbitzin, they wash down the dust, in the house of an avel. Umadichin kar, they do the dishes, they wash the bowls, the kaisis, the glasses, the chias, the containers, the pitchers, vesa avel. So cleanliness, maintenance, that's okay. Ve'ein mevinas hamugmar, vesa psamim, vesa avel. But we don't bring all kinds of fragrances. Psamim, mugmar is the fragrance which is burnt on the over ash. We don't bring that to the base of aval. We don't seek to introduce pleasures to the base of aval. Eini, is that so? We learned in a brisa. Ein mevarchen loyala mugmar, v'loy psamim base of aval. We don't make a bracha on psamim base of aval. Why? Because the reason why they bring it is to dispel any unpleasant odors. So it's not meant to enhance, it's meant to remove any negative elements that may be found. So that doesn't require a bracha. Okay. But we have a diuk. Beruchi hu delay mivarchinan. We don't make a bracha because of that reason. Ha'isui ma'isinan, but it's pretty clear we bring it. And here we learned in a brayse that we don't bring these things. The kasha, the answer is, depends on the situation. Depends on the need. Haba beisa aval. If it's beisa aval where the mace is there and you have to dispel that unpleasant odor, you can introduce besamim, but then you don't make a bracha because it's not there to enhance, it's just there to dispel. So you can bring it. Haba beis hamanachman. But once it's after kvura, people are coming in to the menachem aval, at that point, there's no justification for mugmar or for psamim. Maintenance, cleanliness, that's okay, but pleasures, we suspend that. Okay, so we learned about kriyas hamita, which applies to all the beds in the home. It only applies to beds which serve the person, as opposed to a bed which is made for kalim, as opposed to the mazel bed. We had an exception for the leather arrangement, this dargish made from leather. We have some kulos to avoid damaging the bed. Same thing with the mita that has the poles. We avoid ruining the bed. We avoid pleasures of all types in the Beis Avel. Continues the Mishnah. So this is referring to the Sudas Havra. On his first day of Avelis, he doesn't eat his own food. We provide for him. He's not self-sufficient. Some Mepharshim say we're concerned that he might not look after himself. He might just starve to death. So we made a takana that all will contribute. People bring in food. They supply him with his needs. But how do you present it to him? In a very modest way. In a very simple way. You don't bring the food to the Beis Aval in an elaborate way. Whether using a tray, Rashi says a tamcha, some sort of nice looking dish. Nor using this shofar shaped type of utensil. Rather with simple baskets. So no tray, no tamcha, no bowl, large bowl, etc. We use a simple basket. Getting back to Chol HaMoed, we minimize the Avelis mood, and we try to keep things toned down, so we don't say Birchas Avelim B'Moed. Aval Emdim B'Shura, that we do. We get online, and the Aval passes by, U'Menachmen, and we say Amakim Menachem Eschem, that's it, and then they go home. U'Poitrinus HaRabim, they send the Rabbim home, rather than coming to participate in the Sudas Havra'ah. We tone things down on Chol HaMoed. So we keep things to the bare minimum. What else on Chol HaMoed? We don't place the meat of the mace out in the street, so that it doesn't encourage, doesn't exasperate the hesped and the avelus. We keep things at a minimum. V'lo shel nashim la'olam, and certainly when it comes to nashim, we never do that. We never put out their mita in public, to maintain the honor of the isha. Rashi says, sheshefay zivo, concerned about dam. So we keep the isha bitznius. Tana Rabbanan. Now we're going to have a long list of various practices which they used to do in the olden days, but Rishoina, the good old days, but then things were toned down and were standardized in order to maintain consistency and avoid any sort of embarrassment and peer pressure. Tana Rabbanan, but Rishoina, in the old days, hayu malichin beis ha'avel, so whenever one would bring food to the beis ha'avel, it was up to you how to bring it. Everybody had their standards. Ashirim bekata shel kesef shel zav. A wealthy person would bring it with gold or silver sort of basket. Vaniyim besalin etzarim. Poor man would offer his offering with a very simple basket. Salin etzarim, a sal, a basket made from branches of peeled arabit, shel arabit klufa. And what happened? Poor people were embarrassed. Look, we can't live up to the standards of the wealthy people, and therefore Chacham said, we're going to institute a one standard for all. Hitkinu sheyakol mevin b'salin etzarim shel arava klufa. Now going forward, everybody will bring their food in a simple manner using these baskets to maintain the honor and covered, to be sensitive to the animim. They made avelos takanos. Many kehillas today they have, simcha takanos, chasan takanos, how many people can invite, how elaborate, how simple. They had avelos takanos to keep things simple. Tan Rabbanim learned in the Bryce. Bereshina, in the old days, we know that the Gemara Ksuba speaks about the fact they used to give the avel lots of wine to drink to alleviate the situation, to loosen him up. So how will they offer him his drinks? Ashirim, wealthy people, b'schuchas lavana, using white glass, perhaps crystal, elaborate dishes. Vaniyim b'schuchas tzvua, and Ani would offer his wine using some cheap colored glass, plain simple glass, and that created embarrassment. And v'hoyanim esbaishin, hiskinu do masakin. From now on, everybody the same. Shiyakol mashkim b'schuchas tzvua. Everybody uses plain glass to maintain the cover of aniyim. Bereshina, initially they would uncover the face of the usher, the mace. This way they see a healthy man, a well-fed person. Look at this, look what happened. What a tragic situation. And it would arouse hesped and avelus. That they would only do by the ashirim. When it comes to aniyim, they would cover their faces. It appears in the Gemara you can actually take, even though the Gemara speaks about not being mistakel at the face of a mace, it's kasha l'shikha, can cause shikha satira by the person, but apparently just taking a quick glimpse, that was okay. So they would keep the panim of the usher uncovered, and they would conceal pnei aniyim because their face was blackened, pnei batzuris, because of they were famished. They weren't well fed, they weren't well nurtured, and therefore they would cover their faces. And poor people around would be embarrassed. Look, even after death, they single us out. So they were embarrassed. Hiskinu de masakin, going forward, they would cover everybody up and make kvaynu shel aniyim to maintain the cover of aniyim. But Rishoina, in the early days, how would they carry out the usher, the mace, to the kvura using this chashav bed, dargish that we mentioned earlier, this leather bed. V'aniyim, poor people, but klicha, using a simple mita shel mace, and Rashi says, some sort of rope arrangement. The poor people will be embarrassed. Look, even after death, look, we're singled out, where we have lower standards, and therefore from now on, everybody uses the same simple bed to maintain the cover of aniyim. But in the olden days, if one suffered from an intestinal condition, and after death that would exasperate the unpleasant aroma situation, and they would have to have gemugmar, incense, beneath the mace to dispel that unpleasant odor. So Bereshana they would do that. What happened was the surviving cholim mayim, the ones that were alive, would be embarrassed. Look, we suffer the same condition, we're going through the same thing, and look, we're singled out even after death. It was embarrassing for them. To be sensitive to them, and therefore it became standard practice for all mesim. Shihu manichen tachas hakoil. They would place mugmar under every mace, irrelevant of the situation, to protect the honor of the living cholim me'ayim. Barishayna initially madbilin as hakelim al gabi nidus maces. If a woman dies in a nida state, they would take all the utensils that she had come into contact with before death that are now tamei. They would be matbulet, they would be tevel in a mikvah. Well, you nida is chayes mishbaishes. The women in nidas that are alive, embarrassed. Look, they're singling out after death. It's not covered, and they would be sensitive to that, and therefore his skina do masakin. Everything goes to tefillah. Shimat bilin al gabe kol anoshim. All begadim and kalim that noshim came into contact with before misa would go to the mikvah, irrelevant of their status. When ekvoidna shall nidas chayes, to maintain the honor of the living nidas. One more thing, but Rishon initially matbilin al gabi zav mason. The same thing would apply to a zav, a man zav. They would be mat to all the kalim which he came in contact with before misa. Voyu zav and chayim esbaishim, and the living zav would be embarrassed. His skinu de masakein. Sheyu matbilin al gav hakoil. All kalim that came into contact with the mace would go to tefillah, and ekvoidim shal zav chayim. We no longer single out the zavim. This maintains their honor and their dignity. Oh, one more thing. Initially, they were very into providing elaborate tachrichim, shrouds for the mace. It was a big deal. And as a result, it was a big burden. It was a stressor. Even greater than the tragedy of death itself was the expenditure and involvement in dressing up the mace. Death is death, but this added expense exacerbated the situation. What happened was the relatives just dropped the mace and said, look, I'm running away, let the tzibur take care of him. And this wasn't really a good option. He says, you know what, I'm going to turn things around. He degraded himself, so to speak. He instructed his family that when he passes away, they use the most simple tachrichim, and in fact, they dressed him with pishtan, linen, begadim. This provided a precedent, this lowered the standard, and benefited the entire community. And going forward, we say, everybody followed suit, lotis b'klei pishtan, to dress the mace in simple linen cloths. Amra Papa, nowadays it's even more. Nowadays, the minhag is, I feel a bit sour, even using just a canvas. Tachrichem, bar zuzah, worth a zuz, it's sufficient. We no longer make a big deal about the tachrichem. So the Mishnah spoke about Chol HaMoed. We try to keep things low key, and we don't place the mita b'ruchayv. Amar Papa. When it comes to Talmud Chacham, we suspend all these restrictions. Ein moed b'fnei Talmud Chacham. When it comes to Talmud Chacham, we sort of do away with the moed, which means we ignore the moed aspect and we do a full-fledged hesped and levaya in honor of his Torah. V'koshken, and certainly Chanukah Purim, which only the Rabbanan, they take second priority. They take second place when it comes to the moed, when it comes to the hesped of Talmud Chacham. We had this in the beginning of Megillah, and the Gemara learned from this that even if it's at the expense of Kriyas HaMegillah, the hesped of the Chacham takes priority. That's provided that he's right here. But if it's in a different area, this halacha doesn't apply. So to make it hesped on account of a Talmud Chacham's passing, and he's not here, it's in a different town, that doesn't justify. Eini, is that so? It was Chol HaMoed. Rav Kahana conducted a full-fledged hesped in honor of Rav Zvid Menarda, and he was in a different town, B'Pum Nahara. How could he do that on Chol HaMoed? Omer Apapi, I'll tell you the teretz. Yom Shemuah. That day was Yom Shemuah, when he first heard of the tragic news. Uke b'fan of Dami, and that has the same effect, the same weight, as though the Chacham is right here. It's an intense period of Avelus, and justifies a hesped, even a Chol HaMoed. Omer Ula, hesped alev. Part of the hesped ceremony is tapping on one's heart as an expression of the feelings of Avelus contained therein. The Chsiv al Shadayim Seiftin, they do hesped on the shadayim, on the breast, which is in the heart area. Tipuach biyad, the loshen tipuach. The procedure applied during hesped as well. Tipuach involves biyad, tapping their hands together, clapping. Kilus was beregel, where they tapped their foot on the floor. Turn up on a kalis. One who's doing kilus, he must be careful to protect himself, lest he get injured. Well, you kalis with sandal, you shouldn't tap with a sandal which features stiff, rigid leather, which might chas v'shalom turn into skin and injure him. Elba minal, rather you should use a soft leathered shoe when he taps, to avoid danger. So we have the Avelim sitting, the Menachemim coming to comfort him, and the Avelim had enough. It's late in the day. Avel kimish in Roshi. Once the Avel nods his head, an indication that I'm looking after. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate your words. That's it. That's a remez that it's time to leave. You have to know how long I want to come, I want to leave. Shuv a Menachmen Rashayin leishav etzla. The Menachmen are no longer allowed to sit there. When a nasi passes by, everybody has to get up for him, except for two. Chutz mi Avel, because he's involved in Zavelis, we don't require him to get up. V'choyle, one who is ill, please stay right there, stay put, lest you exasperate your situation. Suppose everybody got up for the nasi, the Avel got up, the Choyle got up. He didn't have to, but he got up anyways. So typically the nasi turns to them and says, Rabbi say, sit, shavu. So that term is applied to all except for two people. He will not tell the Aval shavu. He will not tell the Choyle shavu. You know why? Say them in Farshim because I think it's taste of rush. Shvu sounds like remain in that state. Sit down. Remain in that position, in that state. We don't want to tell it to an Aval. He's in a state of mourning. We don't want to tell him, stay there. A Choyle, he's sick. We don't want to tell him, stay there. Therefore, we refrain from using this term when we address the Aval and the Choyle. Amar Vidam Rav. Avel. Yoim Rishon, the first day of Avelis, others supply him with his food. Asr lecha lecha mishaloi, he may not eat his own bread. We have a right from a pasuk. But the Amar Lerachman Lecheskel, Hashem tells you, Cheskel, you're going to suffer tragedy, and you're not going to observe all the Dini Avelis. There's going to be a remes in the future. Klal Yisrael will suffer tragedy, and there won't be any Avanachim, any Avelim. V'lechem anashim lo yiseichel. You're different than a typical Aval. You should not partake in other people's bread, apparently. The standard Aval does. His food is supplied by others. How did Rabbi Rav Yosef do it? Rabbi Rav Yosef machlef yisud. They would swap their meals. So when one of them was an Aval, the other one would give him a meal, and he would respond in kind when it was the other one's turn. Vam Rav Yudam Rav Meisbier. One passed away in the town. Kol b'nei ha'ir asurin b'asis malach. Everybody has to close up their shops, close up their businesses. They have to look after the kruras hames. When does that apply? In all situations? No, we're going to see in a minute. There was a story with Rav Hamnuna Ikla with Droimta. He came to the town Droimta. Shama kol shipura. He heard the kol ha-shofar, which was blown at the time of one's passing. Shama kol shipura de shichva. Okay, so he expected everybody to drop what they were doing and run, take care of the mace. No, business as usual. She sees these people. They're still buying and selling their stocks. They're doing malach. Amalu, he turned to them. You belong in go to Cherem. Don't you know what's happening? Don't you know there's a mace in town? What are you doing? Amalu, they responded. Here it's different. Chaburta. There's a Chaver Kaddish attending to the mace. There's no need for us to stop our activities. Amar Lahusi said, okay, you're right, sorry. If that's the case, Shari Lahu, indeed, you can continue conducting business. And that's in fact what we do today. We have a designated Chaver Kadisha that looks after the maze. And therefore, there's no need to stop what you're doing. V'amar Vidamarav, crying, Avelus. That's part of the human condition. It's natural, it's understandable. It's part of the Misa process. But too much, excessive bechia is not acceptable. Why? Because it represents a lack of amunah, lack of bitachon, lack of trust in Hashem. He knows what's good for us, and He looks after us. So a little bit, yeah, it's natural, it's understandable, but too much, something wrong there. Kolam is skashal mesu yesim medai. If one exasperates, one exceeds the standard, when it comes to crying and expressing anguish over his mace, there's a consequence. Al mace acharu beicha. He's going to come to cry on another mace. He's going to have another tragedy, chas v'shalom. It's like by Tisha B'Av, Hashem says, look, you're crying for no reason. You don't trust me. You don't believe. Atam b'chisam b'chiyah shel chinam. You're going to cry for something real. You're going to have b'chiyah shel deres to churban beis hamikdash. Similarly here, he's overdoing it. Hashem says, look, then you're going to have another thing to cry about. In fact, there was a story with Ahi Itzah, this woman. The Havas b'shivusid Rav Huna, who lived near Rav Huna. Havas shiva b'ni, she had 7 sons. Made chad b'nai, 1 passed away. Havas kabachya b'yisirasale. She couldn't control it, just crying and crying, uncontrollable. More than the standard. Rav Huna, her neighbor, was concerned that perhaps it's going to send the wrong message to the public at large. So he tells her, stop. Shalach Rav Huna, he sent her a message. Don't continue like this. She didn't pay attention to it. Shalach, I sent her another message. It's Isis, if you listen, mutav good. But otherwise, Savis, prepare Zavdasa, the Tachrichem L'idach, for the next son. Miss. In fact, he passed away, and she just kept on going. Umisuku, and all her sons passed away. L'Seif. After all that, Amallah, he again tells her, Teimur Zavdasa l'nafshech. You better prepare your own Tachrichem Umisa. And in fact, she died as well. He was concerned that it's going to weaken everybody's emunah, everybody's resolve, and their emunah and bitachon Hashem. It sends the wrong message. It's detrimental to conduct oneself in this manner, and therefore he tells her you're getting involved in dangerous waters, and she disregarded, and look what happened. So the pasuk says al tifkul lemes v'al tanudalei, which sounds like don't cry, don't be involved in any hesped at all. During the hesped they shake their heads. That's tanudu. No, that's not what it means. It means don't overdo it. Al tifkul lemes yoyser medai v'al tanudalei yoyser mekashir. What is this shir? Okay, so how does this work? Shloish yamim lebechi. First 3 days, the most intense period of avelus. That's called shloish yamim lebechi, days of crying. V'shiva lehesped, up until the shiva. There's a time for hesped, and that's it. You have to know when to get over it, to overcome one's emotions, and place trust and Hashem, and put the matter aside. Ushloishim lagiyot taspers. When it comes to restrictions regarding giyuts, freshly pressed new beged, taspers, taking haircuts, that's up until 30 days. Mekan ve'elach, but past 30 days, avelus is over. Omar Kadosh Baruch Hu. Don't think that you have more Rachmanas than I do. I created you and him. I created the concept of Rachmanas. How can you purport to have more Rachmanas than me? I know what I'm doing. I look out for your best interests. I understand it's part of the human condition to cry, to be misabel, and it's actually mandated. L'kavod hameis. It's therapeutic for the living people to express themselves and to have others emphasize it. It's gewaltig, but up to a point. The pasuk says, "B'chu b'chay lahoilach." What does that mean? Rabbi Yehuda lahoilach b'lei bana. One who leaves this world without any offspring. That's terrible. He has no hemshech, no continuity. B'chu b'chay for this person. In fact, Rabbi Shimon Levi, lo'yazal l'bei avla. Typically, he wouldn't go to the Beis Avil. He wouldn't go. He would only make exception. Ela l'man da'azal b'lei bani, one who left the world without any offspring. Tichsiv, as the pasuk says, b'chu b'chay lahoilach. The pasuk concludes with the words, Ki lo yoshevoid v'ra es eretz milad. What does that mean? He's not going to come back to his place of birth. What is that referring to? Rav Huna Amar, you know what it is? We're talking about a rush, a habitual offender. Zesha avar avera v'shanaba. We're speaking about a person who transgresses, does averas, and repeats it until it becomes his habit. This fellow is terrible. Lo yoshevoid, Rashi says, Mashma Makan Ve'elach Layasit Loyal Tshuva, his fellow is far gone, very, very difficult for him to come back. Rav Huna L'Tamei, Rav Huna follows his statement stated elsewhere. The Amar Rav Huna Kivan She'avar Adam Aveira V'Shanaba. Once a person gets to that point, he's over and repeats it, Hutralai, it becomes mutter to him. Hutralai sakadaitach, it's really mutter, why would it be mutter? It's still asr. No, he meant like this. El-ema nasis like keheter. To this fellow, it appears like it's mutter. He doesn't even think twice. It's so habitualized, it's so part of his lifestyle. Very difficult. Of course, it's possible, very difficult to do tshuva at this point. Amr Belevi, when one experiences the loss of a loved one, it's an expression of midas hadin. Midas hadin, strictness from Hashem was applied at that point, and all those avelim must take heed. Perhaps their time is coming. So time to shore things up, to do teshuvah. Avel shloish yomim rishon, the first 3 days of the Avelis, the most intense period of Avelis, the most intense expression of Hashem's din. Yireh es atzmai, he should perceive himself. He should visualize himself as though he's in danger. He's under threat. Ki'ilu cherev monachas le ben shtei, there's a gersak seifaf, as though there's a sword situated between his shoulders. Mishloish avat shiva, from 3 to 7, okay, downgrade a bit. The threat level was downgraded from red to the orange. He has to treat himself as though there's a cherev, although not directly over his head, but in the corner of the room. Mekan ve'elach past 7, and Taisa says until Yud Beis Chodesh. It seems like any karev, not just parents. The first Yud Beis Chodesh is still has a lingering effect of the midas hadin. Ki'ilu eiveres connected b'shuk, although the cherev, the sword, is not right here, but it's somewhere in the distance. It's as though it's passing by him in the street. He should still take heed. He should still take it to heart. Midas hadin is still being applied to the family, and tshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah is very much in place. Okay, let's do a quick chazara of what we learned today. Typically, an aval does not engage in schira. He's already on the road and involved in schira. We allow him to continue together with the chabura if there's no way out. What about kviyas hamita? You overturn that bed. At what point? Some say as soon as the mace leaves the house. Some maintain it only begins at the time of kvura, like all the other dinu avelis. We overturn all the beds in the home that serve the people in the home, as opposed to the bed on which they position the kalim, the mazel bed. What about this dargash, this leather type of bed? We're makel, we don't want to ruin it, and we just turn it sideways, and according to Shingam Leal, you untie the loops and let the mat or mattress drop. Even in the base of oval, they maintain cleanliness. We don't introduce besamim unless it's to dispel the reach ra. Many takanas were instituted to standardize the procedure, to take into account the various sensitivities of various parties involved. We tone things down when it comes to the Suda Savra. We provide only Sali Nitzarim in these cheap baskets. We give them to drink in plain glasses. We cover the mace's face, irrelevant of whether there's an ani or an usher. We carry him out in a very simple type of bed. We bring mugmar to all the mason. We are toivel the kalim of all the mason. And the minig l'maisa is to use very cheap tachrich. Although typically on Chol HaMoed we tone down the hesped procedure. Talmud Chacham is an exception, provided it's in his presence, or a Yom Shemua, when the news arrived for the first time. When a mace is in town, everybody must stop their malacha to ensure the mace is being tended to, unless there's a Chaver Kadisha doing that job. Too much bechia, too much hesped is unacceptable, and during the period of Avelis, the Avelim must be aware of the fact that Midas Hadin is right there, and they should bring it to Teshuvah. We always hear B'suras Toivus, and much hatzlacha.